This Choircast podcast is proudly brought to you by RJ the Astronaut by John Turney, published by Choir and available now. Join RJ on his out-of-this-world journey filled with loving conversations, drama, and thought-provoking questions. Available now on Amazon.com. Get your copy and embark on an unforgettable adventure today. Dive into RJ's world where every moment sparks imagination and every page ignites curiosity. Don't miss out. Grab your copy now and soar beyond the stars with RJ.
Hey heathens, you're listening to the Deadly Faith podcast where religion and crime collide. I'm Lola.
And I'm Lacey.
And this shit is treacherous.
The mind that was in Jesus, that mind is in me.
Without me, life has no meaning.
Why would God tell you what I'm thinking and tell you what I've said to my wife or my husband when you're not around? It's because I'm the pastor of the church and I need to know.
This is the only place where you can see truth.
Ooh, I like that.
But not like in the Taylor Swift treacherous way. Like that song.
Wait, what's the song?
Treacherous. It's literally called Treacherous.
It just like completely outed myself. I am not a Swiftie, guys. We have established that.
I know. It's a great song. It makes me cry, though. I don't listen to it very often.
Well, this song from last week's episode that you quoted.
Mad Woman?
Damn. God, that was...
Fucking gut me. Make me eat it.
Yeah.
And throw it up. Like...
I still think about that song. It's been a whole week and I still have that on my mind.
It's a very powerful song. I feel like it's really overlooked for a lot of the songs that she wrote during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But
it's... Whew, man.
It slices my face off.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
It fucking slaps.
It slaps. Hey, heathens, we are interrupting this episode for a message from our sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by JAVY. If you have not tried JAVY, you're missing out. It is coffee concentrate, and they come in different flavors. So you can get the original, you can get caramel brulee. That's the one I'm drinking right now. And oh my God, it's so good. They also have mocha and French vanilla and a couple other ones. It's so delicious. You get this little scooper. You just need 1 teaspoon of the coffee concentrate into your drink. And if you want it stronger, you can do 2. I definitely do 2. And each teaspoon is a serving, and each serving has 60 milligrams of caffeine. So you're still getting all the caffeine and all the benefits from the coffee.
Good Lord.
Oh, yeah. And you can make it any way you want. You can do hot. You can do iced. You can do cappuccinos or whatever the fuck you want. You can do
hot bean
anything.
Juice.
Yes.
Hot bean juice.
Or cold bean juice. You
cold
just get your good bean juice.
What are you worried about? It's bean juice.
It's bean juice.
What are you worried about?
Get you some bean juice. It is so freaking good. I'm addicted now. I have not turned on my coffee pot all week because I've literally only been making these and they're so delicious. I add caramel and vanilla into my caramel brulee. It's good. It's a great way to start your morning. So if you guys want to get you some and save 15%, use code LACY, LACI 33468. Yes, that is your discount code. And I'm very sorry. We are trying to get it changed to Deadly Faith. But in the meantime,
please enjoy.
Just roll with us and use code LACY 33468 for 15% off. Links will be in the show notes or description box below. Now back to the episode. Okay, so today, Lola, what are we talking about?
We're talking about none other Hillsong, you know?
Fucking Hillsong.
And you know what? It's fine if you don't know, any of you listening, if you don't know Hillsong, who they are. You may have heard music from their worship team.
Probably.
There's one song in particular. It's Oceans. Where where feet may fail. So that's the main one. It's kind of old now, but like it, I don't know.
Okay. I have to say though, like after I deconstructed.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Preface this with, if you still feel moved by worship music and you still love it, like more power to you, like nothing against it. Music is emotional. It is, we literally just got done talking about the Taylor Swift song. It's meant to draw on your emotions, but knowing just how manipulative big mega churches are with their music, like hearing it straight from people who used to work in churches, in these mega churches with sound, and they literally would say, oh, change the music to this because we want them to start feeling this way, or we want them to, be ready to tithe, or like we want a big salvation message,
get the
whatever.
soft guitar riff for the altar call, get the piano for,
Knowing that, I feel like I should be owed an emotional payout. Like I should be paid for all of the tears that fucking song stole from me, because they manipulated me into feeling all that shit. Okay.
She wants a federal payout over this.
I want, what is it? Emotional damage. I want Hillsong to pay me for the emotional damage that song has caused.
That specific song. I mean, they have plenty more. Like they have several albums that are out for you to listen to if you want to. But
oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about Hillsong. So the church was founded in the early 1980s in New South Wales, Australia by Brian and Bobby Houston. So it's not founded here, which I found odd for how popular it is here.
Did you know that it was not founded here?
I didn't know that until researching it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Also, I have been to Hillsong, Australia.
I hate you. I hate that we're having this conversation. Why were you there?
So it was when I went on my study abroad trip to New Zealand and Australia. And we spent like not a whole lot of time in Australia. And just so happened we were there when they were having like the young adults, what you would think of like a Wednesday night meetup, right? So we all were like, oh my God, it's fucking Hillsong, or freaking out. So we took like 2-3 trains, got lost, got turned around, but ended up making it to Hillsong, the original Hillsong campus.
That's crazy.
And we went to their Wednesday night service, or I don't even know if it was a Wednesday, their young adult service.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much a concert. Like it was...
That's what I've heard about it.
It was fun. Like don't get me wrong. Like it was absolutely fun. But the most fun was like we actually met people who were studying abroad from other countries. And we actually like went out to, me and this one girl were like, we're staying out. And we went and had like waffles at this like really nice waffle place. Like not like a Waffle House. It was like a fancy 24-hour.
You had fancy waffles.
I had fancy waffles at like midnight, 1:00 in the morning.
In Australia.
Sydney, Australia. And we like barely made it back to our, dear God, I almost called it a brothel. Our hostel.
What's the difference?
We barely made it back because like we didn't realize the train stopped going at a certain time. And so like we barely made it back. But we had so much fun meeting those people. I think I'm still friends with some of them on Facebook. But I've been to that Hillsong campus.
But it's very concert-esque, very like youthful, and I don't know.
Oh, they were all wearing jeans and blue jean denim jackets.
They had V-necks. They had leather jackets with the chains and the faded haircuts. I know.
Oh, yeah. White tee, black pants, denim shirt. Like that was the whole feel. Lights going everywhere. It was a whole ass concert.
So let me kind of give more information, just like general information on the church. So they started in Australia, but they also have other locations like main centers, I guess, like hubs.
Yeah.
In London, Paris, Moscow, San Francisco, and Buenos Aires. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So lots of different places all over that you can find Hillsong. Plus you have like it's like a spider web where you have like tinier churches that are like still Hillsong promoted. But they're just like, it's not a main campus type deal.
That makes sense.
But they had about like 100,000 people at one time coming to services. To this day, we could still have those same numbers coming to services all over the world.
Yeah. Their
theology is defined as contemporary Pentecostal.
Okay.
So do with that what you will. It's very loose with the Pentecostal.
It's not, and it's
like traditional Pentecostal stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Hillsong, they're not of like the Bethel beliefs of like speaking in tongues or healings or like, I don't think they do like hands-on healing.
They believe in the power of prayer, you know?
Yeah.
And that God does like miraculous works, but not necessarily like through human hands all the time. Like in that, be healed and like grab your forehead.
Yes. Okay.
Not like that.
Have we even talked about Bethel on the podcast?
I
don't think we have.
I don't think me and you have talked about it, period.
I don't think so either. I think I mentioned this to you a week or two ago. So for those that are listening that don't know what Bethel is in Redding, California. And I'm just going to give you one example of like the crazy side of like Pentecostalism that they believe is like they will go, this is the weirdest fucking thing. I'm sorry not to offend anybody, but I'm sorry. This is weird and it's very disrespectful. They would go do this thing called grave soaking. Well, they will go and lay on somebody's grave, some dead person's grave. And try to like soak up their like spirit or gifts or like whatever.
I have to leave. This stage.
I know, like that's
not okay.
Get the fuck off my grandma's grave, bitch. Like
it's giving Saltburn.
Wait, what's that? I don't know.
Okay. Anybody that's seen Saltburn knows this. I haven't seen.
Am I showing my age?
I haven't. No. Saltburn just came out. Like,
oh, okay.
By the time this episode comes out, it will have been out for a while, but it came out a couple months back.
Okay.
And it's, oh God, I don't know what to call it, but there's a scene in it where one of the actors is like, goes to a gravesite, like a newly covered grave, and like takes off his clothes and maybe does something to the grave, to the dirt, not to a dead body or anything. I don't know the context behind it because I've just seen clips from it because I feel like I'm going to get triggered by the bathtub scene. And there are several, like the blood scene, the bathtub scene, the grave scene. Like there's a whole list of like weird scenes that happen. Maybe I'll watch it one day. I don't know.
I have to Google this, but
whatever you're describing sounds a lot like the graveyard scene.
So Hillsong's not like that. They are very much just like, we'll pray for you. We hope God heals you, but we're not going to speak in tongues.
They have like conservative beliefs, but it's packaged in a youthful, easily digestible thing. I don't know. Package, whatever.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of different like leadership in this whole thing, and they've got tiers of leadership.
Okay.
It's a hierarchy for sure.
Yeah.
One of the most like, besides, Brian and Bobby, one of the most popular pastors, though, for Hillsong is Carl Lentz. Mm-hmm. Some of you may have seen him on Justin Bieber's Instagram, maybe a couple years back. He's been photographed with Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, the Kardashians, Hailey Baldwin, all the like high-profile A-listers kind of thing.
Yep.
He's kind of like an evangelical elitist in a ways.
I would not even say in a ways. I would say absolutely 1000% nail on the head.
So we can just talk about Carl's background for a little bit because he plays a big part in Hillsong's story. So he was born in Virginia. When he was 32 years old, he studied at Hillsong International Leadership College in Australia, and he became friends with Brian and Bobby's Houston's son, Joel.
Okay.
So he's besties with Joel.
Okay.
And through Joel, he met his wife, Laura, and she's from Australia too. She has the best accent, I swear to God.
She does. She does. I've heard her talk.
Yeah. So he just gives off the vibe of like, look at my hot wife. I'm a pastor. It's cool to wait till marriage. Porn kills love. Like that whole mood. If there's a mood board, that would be him.
That would be him. It's like frat boy meets youth pastor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting it in the words.
We will have to add this to the Instagram when we add the pictures.
Yeah.
The one of Carl Lentz. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it was when he was like actively like pastoring Justin Bieber, and he's walking around in these, I think it's like swim trunks or something. He doesn't have a shirt on. And I swear to God, if his swim trunks fall a centimeter, his dick is going to just fall out of his damn pants.
Oh God. I don't know if I've seen
like
it.
Major V. Like, I'm not kidding. If his shorts fell down any further,
it would be porn. it'd be over.
Right on out there porn. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Pull your man pants up. Shit.
So I feel like it's worth noting that Lentz's net worth is around $2 million at the peak of his career with Hillsong. So like, I don't think I said this earlier, but Brian and Bobby Houston, they come from very powerful religious families. So like Brian, his family really came from old money kind of thing. Allegedly. I don't know. I'm going to be saying allegedly so much because I'm nervous.
Allegedly, guys. Don't sue us.
Yeah.
Brian, what was his wife's name? I just went
Bobby.
Bobby. Both of them, did they both come from, you said, a religious background? I know Brian's was Assembly of God.
Yeah, which is like...
Was Bobby's the same?
I don't know about Bobby's, but I just know about his. Assembly of God is like very much... If Pentecostal had a spider web coming off of it, Assembly of God falls underneath it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't really know anything about Bobby's background because most of the stuff that's like bad has to do with Brian and his side.
It's always the men. It's always the men.
And I don't want to bog us down with info because there's a lot of information here. Yeah. So we're going to like take this in bits about each of them now that I've introduced like some main characters to you. So I want to get into possible sex crimes.
Yay! That was sarcastic unless you didn't catch that.
So Brian Houston was at one point being charged with concealing child sex offenses.
That he's a pastor, so I'm going to say that tracks.
But it wasn't him necessarily. Not that I know of. Police alleged in court that Brian knew information about sexual abuse of a young male, never found out this person's name, in the 1970s and did not bring this information to light or to police, like didn't tell anybody. So Brian Houston, he's 67 at the time that these allegations are happening. So,
and he was being charged.
Yeah. He says that his father, Frank Houston, he confirmed that he told him on his deathbed that he had abused a boy in the 1970s for years. He just said years. I don't know how long that means. So nothing was ever like done. Nothing was done. He said, Dad told me on his deathbed, he became aware of this in 1999. So like caught an inkling, but then in 2004, when his dad was on his deathbed, he confessed to Brian and said, I did this kind of thing. But then abruptly died.
Okay.
So there was nothing to be done then, it seemed.
Right. How do you get justice for somebody when the perpetrator's dead?
Yeah. But they still wanted to charge him because, you know, he had been aware of this for years and retribution needed to happen for the victim.
Do you know about, like, because you said the inklings prior to the actual confession, do you know what happened there?
Brian is very tight-lipped about everything that happened ever since police started investigating him. So there was not a lot of information.
Do you mind if I chime in? Because I did a video on Brian, Frank Houston.
Frankie? Yeah.
Yes, a couple years ago.
Frankie the father.
So allegedly, I'm going to say that because I cannot remember all of the details. If I'm remembering it correctly, the boy, his name was Brett Singstock. So at the time, nobody knew his name. Do you know that?
I didn't know his name. I really didn't want to look him up because I was like,
he came out. Like, the only reason I'm using his name is he came out and told his story, and he not outed himself, but he publicly said, like, I am the victim.
Talked about his story.
Yes. When he was, I think, 16 or 17, somewhere around there, he told his mom, or when maybe he was even younger than that, I can't remember. He told his mom, and his mom said, do not tell anybody don't go to the church because it will keep people from being saved. And so he was told to be quiet.
Why?
He lived with this in silence for years. Lived in silence. And then his mom just decided one day to go to the church and tell them. This was like years later. So which was like, yes, something should have been done, but it should have been done the moment he was brave enough to tell. Not like, it's not your story to tell. And you're forcing him to relive this trauma. That was when he was older. It got back, and it was never this like, yes, he did it, or no, he didn't kind of thing. I think he kind of was like, Frank was like, I was inappropriate, but it never went any detailed. And so they tried to pay him off. And
yes, I was going to say they tried to give payment to the victim, but like,
yes, I'll let you get into that. But
well, I don't have much more information besides the fact they tried to pay him off, and that's fucking horrible. Like, be quiet. Here's money.
Yeah, $10,000. Yeah. They had a meeting. I'm pretty sure it was at
so measly
McDonald's or something. They had a meeting, and they agreed to $10,000 if he wouldn't say anything. And then they left, and Brett never got the money. And so he kept calling back. And Brett says that Brian Houston allegedly said to him, like, this is all your fault. Like, you made my father do this. And like, he blamed everything on Brett. And mind you, he was a child. He was being, I'm just going to be very blunt, he was being raped, fucking raped by a grown-ass man from the age of like, I think it was like 11 or 12 is when it started.
Yeah.
Because he would come over and like guest preach at Brett's like church, and then stay at their house, and then sneak into Brett's room. Like a sick motherfucker.
Oh, that's so gross.
And it came out that he had multiple other victims. Okay. So like the church is like, oh, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Like, let's not say anything. Let's not do anything. Like, we'll just not let him preach again.
Yeah.
He still preached again, just FYI. And he was around children. So that's all I can remember from that story. But from Frank, the fucker.
Yeah. It's all just a big cover up. You know?
Absolutely.
And like, nobody, in the end, Brian was found not guilty in court for withholding that information. So it's like, no real justice was served here. And it's like, we all know a crime was committed here. We all know several crimes were committed. However, nothing happened.
Yeah.
No justice.
Because you're supposed to go to authorities. And he didn't go to authorities.
Because he protected his dad. He protected the family name and their money and their status. It's just...
And I will say, because this was like, technically, this was before Hillsong. This was like the Assemblies of God, era. Like, there should have been more people that were charged, not just Brian Houston. He was the only one that was charged because he had the high profile. So I'm like, if you're going to charge them all, because they all the leadership that was in charge of this, it was a massive cover up. So fuck all of you.
Cover ups remind me of cults.
Absolutely.
Not only that, like Hillsong has a very culty dynamic to it, because Carl Lentz had talked about in interviews that Brian was pushing him and like all the other leaders to recruit and expand constantly. He always had plans to expand, more tithing, more services. He really wanted them to have like 30 services a day, which is like weird to
But it's not weird to me, because what happens at every service?
Money,
that tithe.
And new recruits, you like get convicted and you like save yourself, and then you give all your money away. So it's like, I see what's happening here.
It reminds me of like an MLM, like recruit.
That's it.
Money,
it's all I can think about. It's all I can think about.
All I can think about. Yep.
Well, let's talk about Carl again, because we're kind of done right now with Brian Houston. Like, that shit happened. Nothing came of it. Everything sucks. The world is dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Carl Lentz was kind of shamed and put away from Hillsong. So he had served with Hillsong for 10 years while dealing with sexual struggles as well as drug usage, which, like, you're a victim in your own way,
Yeah.
We cannot say anything negative about that kind of thing because everybody struggles differently, and that's fine. You know, like that's their own journey to deal with.
And you're in a position of leadership. As much as, okay, I will be the first one to say I am not a Carl Lentz fan. Absolutely do not like the guy. He's egotistical. In my opinion, he's a piece of shit. Okay? My opinion. But I will say that he was in leadership and being in that position where so many people are looking up to you. Like he's having hundreds of thousands of people look up to him, whether that's in person or online services. And I cannot imagine the pressure that that you put on yourself to perform great, look great.
Exactly.
Be a good Christian man.
Constantly recruit, constantly be like doing services back to back to back almost every day. It's like,
and Brian's wanting all these services, you know, and that's not to say that Carl Lentz is not a predator in his own way and in this whole situation, but I can also see that he's a victim. Two things can be true at one time.
Say more. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So he was the leader for like the New York Hillsong church, and he was forced to resign in November of 2020 when it came out that he had affairs.
Oh, I'm not shocked.
So, and Carl talks about this. So there's a documentary on Hulu called The Secrets of Hillsong. It is excellent. A lot of information that I have comes from that. So highly recommend looking into that.
Was that the one that came out recently? Is that the one with Carl Lentz?
Yeah, Carl Lentz is in it. And let me just say, you said earlier you think he's a piece of shit.
Oh no. Did that documentary get to you?
It's not.
No judgment. No judgment.
So I agree that he is egotistical. I agree that he is, okay. So I don't want to say narcissistic because it's just like.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
You know that charming pastor. All of you know that charming pastor that like even in the face of like adversity still is able to crack a joke and still is able to like put on a kind of a front, you know, that like they're doing okay and that the world is still good. I don't know. He gives me that energy. But he also, I liked seeing his brokenness. I liked seeing him cry. I liked seeing because like he is reaping exactly what he sowed. And I know that he knows it. So like,
yeah,
we can say all day, you're a piece of shit. And it's like, he knows.
Yeah. I will say in that documentary, there were parts where I was very thankful for things he said, things he owned up to.
Yes. My some problem, of the accountability in there, I was like, okay, I didn't expect that. So like, thank you. The least you could do. Thank you.
For those who have watched it or are going to watch it, you know, weigh in over on our Instagram and tell us what you thought, because I did not like that I felt like they didn't shine. They spent more time on Carl than they did all of the other victims. And there are way more. Like they could have gone so much deeper into all of the other victims. And that really frustrated me. It was like, oh, let's focus on the really hot, disgraced pastor.
Yeah.
How about not? We've done that 1,000 times. That was frustrating. I did like some of the things he said.
I liked that his story was part of it. I just wish there had been a lot more of other people's stories that was equally important in the whole thing. I agree with you on that because it was very him-centered.
There were a few, if I can remember, it's been a while since I've watched it. There were a few times where he said some stuff where I was like, and you still don't get it. And I don't know if this is in your notes, but his current job right now, he should not be in the position that he's in. And the fact that it's only been a few years.
Wait, what job is he in?
He is already on staff at another church.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I read that.
And that is where I was like, no.
Maybe not.
I'm not saying that you can't overcome and you can't grow, but you should not be in a position of leadership.
Are you thinking he's going to take advantage of another woman?
It's only been like 2 years from the time that he was like expelled to being on another church. It was literally like just about 2 to 3 years, maybe just under 3 years. Like, no, you should not be in a position of leadership.
I'm surprised he wanted to be, with the way that, like, because in the documentary, he talks a lot about being hurt by Brian and Bobby. Like, he had been close with their son, therefore he was close with them too. And like, he worked directly with Brian for him. So like, they had a close relationship, and the way that they like put a noose around him in the end, it was like, are you not afraid of that happening again? Or like, because I feel like maybe he should take into account protecting his family, not just himself, but like his family from another spiritual abuse situation.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Whatever.
I think it's hard when you've gone through something like he went through, being completely disgraced and pushed out and thrown to the literal fucking wolves, but not deconstructing your faith. You still have that sliver of hope that it's not all churches. And so I wonder if it's that I just need to find a different church family that keeps him going back. And I don't know. That's just, in my opinion, a theory, I guess.
No, I mean, that's valid. I was surprised that him and Laura hadn't deconstructed.
I don't know how you don't somewhat deconstruct. And they could have.
Maybe
and
they
just haven't talked about it, which is fine. They don't freaking have to. But
maybe they have in a way that's like subconscious too. Because like not all deconstruction happens on the forefront where it's like, wow, that's not normal, or that's not making sense. It's like small subconscious things that you just eventually come to accept with time. So maybe that's happened. Who knows?
I always say deconstruction, from my experience and the experience of people that I know, it is this slow progression of deconstruction that happens over a pretty long period of time that you do not realize you're deconstructing. You don't realize that's what's going on. And then all of a sudden, one day,
you like tip over the edge.
A light bulb goes off and you just fall off the fucking cliff, and you're just falling into the depths of deconstruction. And it happens so fast.
And the free fall fucking hurts.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's like falling from the top of a tree and you hit every goddamn fucking branch on the way down.
Say more.
So I don't know if that's what they're doing, but
maybe, I hope that they do. I hope that they do deconstruct a little bit more if they aren't already. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry. We've gone into our opinions on him without even saying everything that happened.
That's okay. Let's keep going. Sorry.
Ultimately, obviously, with Pentecostal beliefs, infidelity is, and lust in general, are just like sinful in nature.
Oh, yeah.
And definitely frowned upon, grounds for divorce, whatever. So he was encouraging people, get married, don't have sex outside of marriage. It was his whole purity culture spiel, that he would do in a lot of his sermons.
It was his bread and butter.
For sure. It's a lot of pastors' bread and butter. It's one of the main sins that gets everybody, everybody.
And it's also an easy way. People are probably going to be offended by me saying this, but it's an easy way to control others by making them feel guilty and shameful.
Yeah.
And then needing to turn back around and ask for forgiveness, which means they're coming back to church, they're coming back to service, they're tithing more because they're at service. And it's this repetitive cycle.
Well, I'm unsure of the timeline to which he cheated on his wife because it happened with two different people. And I don't know when it started emotionally versus physically. So
yeah,
both are just as hurtful if you don't have an open marriage.
Yeah.
And I could tell in that documentary, Laura was still extremely torn up over it.
Yeah. I felt for her in that documentary, having to be in that position where she was still talking about.
She had to be on a documentary and talk about that shit again. And still, I don't think she feels she can leave that marriage. I know she loves him, but also on top of it, I feel like she probably believes I cannot leave this. Because you built a brand, you built a performance, a career, a home, a family out of this narrative. So like, it is so twisted up in you there's really no way out.
Yeah. I just felt bad for her having to, because everyone's going to be like, well, she didn't have to. She had a choice.
You don't understand. If you say that, you do not understand.
Because everything was talked about and Carl Lentz was literally shit on, which like, okay, I know I said I didn't like him and he's a piece of shit, but like, if we're going to be comparing, he's the dingleberry on your ass while fucking Brian Houston is a full-on turd.
Okay, yeah.
That's rotting in the sun. So like, he was thrown to the wolves and they wanted to tell their side. And I think that's valid. And I think it's right for them to be able to tell their side and for us to have a full picture of what went on. But yeah, she's definitely still, as of the recording of that documentary, I think I agree with you. She's definitely still hurting.
It's a wound that not many marriages recover from. So they'll be nursing it the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Well, in October of 2020, a member of staff at Hillsong reported to other leadership. Like I said, there are tiers to leadership there. So reported to leadership compromising messages between Carl and a woman named Kareem.
Okay.
I think I said that right.
I think that is right. Yeah.
Raneen was a beauty, like industry model, fashion designer, all the things. She's an influencer.
All the things. Yeah.
Very pretty person. So it came out. She did interviews on it too. She was like, "Let me get the clout. Let me get the money. I get you. I get you."
I was like, girl.
It was odd. Okay.
Yes. But she knew who he was before she walked into that.
She acted like she was kind of a victim in this. And it's like, you're an adult.
She looked him up.
She did. Yeah.
She Googled him.
Yeah.
She knew exactly who she was before she ever started a relationship with him.
She saw him hanging out with celebrities and she was like, okay. So she definitely, I think she used him, in my opinion. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that came out. But also, there's another woman. Liana Kimes. She was another Hillsong leader for the Boston campus. And she was Carl Lentz's family nanny. This is such a bad, like, porno about to unfold.
Oh my gosh.
So at a certain point, I know that Laura found Carl and Liana in a compromising position in their home. She did not divulge what compromising position meant, but Liana said, like, I would never do that. Why would you think that of me? You know, she was very, like, nothing happened, whatever. And I guess it fizzled out because Liana was still the nanny afterward for a while.
That's crazy.
Weird. That would make me feel weird, but whatever.
The gaslighting. Like, once you found out, like, it was all true,
Oh, yeah.
I want fucking punch a bitch's tit.
Oh, okay.
I would be so mad.
Yeah. Well, leadership peers approached Carl. So like I said, messages were found. So leadership ended up approaching Carl about the messages with Raneen. And so Carl says that he called Brian and Bobby and told them what he had done. I don't know what they said to him. I don't know. But later on, he was like, I have to tell Laura before this all comes to light, you know? So he divulged everything to Laura about both Raneen and Liana. So obviously she was distressed and heartbroken. And about a month later is when they decided to have a Zoom meeting with all of, like, the top leadership, including Brian and Bobby, for Hillsong churches. So the main leaders for the main campuses to, like, discuss the affairs and everything. And Carl said he explained everything in detail, like all the way in detail, because he thought this is a place to be vulnerable and tell you that I fucked up, you know, like this is it, laying it all out on the table, asking for forgiveness and, like, how do I move forward from this? How do I fix my marriage? How do I fix my career?
Oh my God.
And after that, it came out that they had recorded this conversation without his knowledge.
I forgot that.
So they had his recorded confession and they leaked it to the news. Brian was extremely like, we don't condone this. And like, Carl, we don't have anything to do with him anymore. Like, fired everything. Well, really, they were fired, but it was put nicely that they resigned.
Oh.
So over a Zoom meeting, they were asked to resign, fired, whatever. And all of that private information was immediately leaked because Brian was trying to save face for himself and say, like, look at us, Hillsong. We don't tolerate that. When it happens, we cut it off, you know? Carl was a scapegoat when he came forward in a vulnerable time. Yeah. Oh, he definitely fucked up. He hurt so many people, and that was wrong. But the betrayal of a person that, like, you kind of grew up with in your spiritual childhood, you know?
Yeah.
That you learned from and you served with, that's just a different kind of hurt. So that sucks.
And what's funny is, like, I swear, these churches are their own self-fulfilling prophecies, because what they do is they're like, oh my God, we can't let anybody find out about X, Y, and Z, so we're going to cover it up. Eventually, that shit's always going to come to light. It always does, okay? And so then when it comes to light and it shows that you fucking covered it up for years, your reputation takes a major hit, if not destroys your entire congregation.
You lose all trust.
What you were trying to stop from happening, you made happen because of the steps you took. And so what Brian did by, like, just straight out throwing Carl out to the wolves actually made everybody go, what's going on here? Because normally in churches, this is just covered up.
Exactly. Like, he held on to a secret for years about his father with sexual abuse with a child. However, you're willing to throw someone that you taught, you were a mentor to, under the bus. It's just odd.
Yeah.
This is not justifying anything that Carl did. Like I said, he hurt so many people around him. He did.
Carl, yeah, absolutely. But Carl was also, like, good looking. He was getting all the interviews on all the talk shows and all the news stations. Making a bunch of money. Everybody loved him.
His reputation preceded him.
He outshone Brian.
For sure.
And Brian, I think, is too egotistical.
You think he was like, get out. This is my church.
I think he finally was like, you know what?
Damn.
I think he used it as an excuse and was like, sweet, I'm going to out you now. And so everyone's like, what the fuck? You didn't, like, even help him. You just, like, threw him to the wolves. You outed, like, his whole family. Wolves.
I love you. Wolves.
It's okay. That's the weird shit. It's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's too egotistical for his own good. And so he couldn't handle.
I would believe that.
They're making money hand over fist with all of their other. He didn't care how much Carl was bringing in. He could sacrifice it.
Well, you know, Carl and Laura unfortunately found that unconditional love within Hillsong had conditions, and I hate that for them.
I know.
Because I don't think either of them deserved the abuse that they suffered at the hands of the church. Despite anything either of them did. Yeah. I don't think that they deserve to be hurt, both of them.
I don't think anybody really deserves any kind of spiritual or religious abuse. And that's exactly what happened to them.
Yeah.
And this is already hard enough that they're walking through. Having to lose your entire community that you've spent years building and
have your marriage break down in front of your face with, like, you have people. I assume that, like, they also wanted them to help figure out next steps for their marriage, because obviously they weren't about to end their marriage. They had kids together. They had this whole life together, and they still loved each other. And
they just said, bye. You fucked up. Goodbye. And it's like, okay, but don't you guys preach on redemption and, like, repentance and restoration?
That you're never too far gone?
Yeah. Like, where was the help? Should he have been a leader? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Should this have been a public, should he have come out publicly and said what he had done? Yes. Unfortunately, because that is the position that they were in. Would it have hurt his whole family in the end? Yes, but not like losing their entire community like fucking Brian did to them. But that is a consequence of the life that you have chosen to live and the position that you've chosen to put yourself in. And you've chosen to step out. So like that is something that you're going to have to deal with. And he should have been able to get the help and their marriage and their counseling and everything. And they weren't.
So you may be wondering about, we talked about how Renine had like, she went on her interviews. She got her money. She said, bye. Well, Liana, the ending to her story with this.
The
specifically.
nanny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So her and her husband eventually stepped down from Hillsong pretty soon after.
I forgot she was married too.
Oh yeah. Her husband was the pastor for the Boston campus that they were both the like main leaders at that campus. So
okay, hold on.
I think his name is Josh.
So we have, I'm remembering this now. Okay,
Yeah.
So we have her and her husband are like the main leaders at the Boston.
Yes. And then Laura and Carl are the ones at New York.
How far away are these? Because if she's nannying his kids, Carl's kids.
I don't know anything.
I can't. I got to Google some stuff. Keep going.
Yeah, Google the distance. What was her commute like?
Did she live with them?
Well, I wonder like if maybe she like nannies sometimes will just stay at the house, So like what if she just lived there during the week and then whenever weekends for services came?
But I know she had her own kids as well.
That's true.
So who the fuck was taking care of her kids?
Why are you a nanny anyway? Anyway, you look up the commute. But Liana came forward 6 months after Carl was fired or resigned, whatever, and allegedly said that Carl had sexually abused her. Allegedly. I'm using a lot of safety language here.
Yes.
Carl says in the documentary that they had an inappropriate relationship, and he takes accountability saying that like he was a position of power. He should not have ever put her in that position or himself. It was just like inappropriate all the way around.
Yeah.
Imbalance of power, everything. Mm-hmm. He owned up to that, which like, good on you, man. Thank you for doing the decent thing.
Yeah.
So Liana did not file charges against him for sexual abuse. And she didn't talk about this afterwards. She declined to be part of the documentary. Her husband did too. So after she came forward on social media with a post saying how he had sexually abused her, that was it. And we probably won't get any more answers on it from her in the future. But
it's really hard. Let me ask you your opinion. What is your opinion of that? Like, she's a married woman with children. This is her pastor. Of course, there is an imbalance of power.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider that abuse in that situation? Yeah.
Yes. Any imbalance of power negates consent. I do think that, like, I don't think she was like a rape victim.
No.
Because, like, you're a full ass adult.
Yeah.
That, like, the moment that someone makes a move on you, you need to report. You need to tell your husband. You need to tell somebody.
Yeah.
If you're a wife and mom, you have an obligation to be talking when something like that happens to you.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And I'm going to process this out loud in real time with all of you.
I want you to.
So don't give me shit while I process this. Okay, guys?
I never will.
Okay.
I'm the only one right here with you.
Does that not, like, not, okay. Her saying, like, she was abused by him.
Yeah.
And does it not give her to me, it feels a lot like a free pass. Like, I'm going to play the victim and I have no role or responsibility in this. And that's what I don't like about that, because she is an adult. She's married. She has, like, she knew what she was doing.
She was friends with Laura.
Yeah. And you're fucking her husband, cheating on your own husband.
You continue to be their nanny too. Why didn't you resign from that position and say, like, you don't even have to mention, say he made a pass at you and you were like, oh, fuck no. Just like resign. And don't say anything about it and move on. If that's the I don't know.
Yeah.
If that's how you want to play this.
But it's not like he like used his spiritual authority to manipulate her into a relationship from what we know. You know, it was a consensual.
It's not like a Catholic priest being like, I have to have sex with you to make you pure again because you gave your virginity to this boy.
Right.
It's not like that. You know?
Right. So to me, I don't know that I would call it abuse.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's
abuse
valid.
is a strong word, but
I feel like it puts it on that same tier of like a rape victim or a molested child or something like that. Like sexual abuse. I think it was an abuse of power.
Absolutely.
But I'm not sure about sexual abuse specifically.
Okay, that's where
Is that a good way to...
Yes, that's
okay.
a good way to put it.
We're in the same boat then.
There's an abuse of your power.
Here, take a paddle.
Absolutely. See, this makes me feel okay. An abuse of power, but they were still consenting sexually on the affair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's what if I'm remembering her little statement or whatever, that's what it felt like was like, I'm going to play the victim card and not.
It was very, and like her posts, her social media posts, I don't know if it's still up anymore, but like they have screenshots of it on the documentary and you can see, and it's very much like, woe is me. And like, this was done to me. It's not that, hey, I was an active participant and like, this was wrong. This was inappropriate. Yeah. I should have reported whenever he approached me this way or something. Like
it was everybody else is shitting on Brian. So let me continue to or not Brian, shitting on Carl. Let me just continue to shit on him and take the light off myself.
For sure. Okay, you want to talk about the last piece of this? Well, there's not really a last piece. There's like so much more that we could probably go into, but this will be a 3-hour thing.
It really would.
You need to know just right off the bat, and this is talked about in the documentary, there is racism that happens all within Hillsong. It's not alleged, it's real. There is LGBTQIA plus, abuse and power shifts. Like there's just a shit ton of stuff that happens, like bigotry behind the scenes, and like that's laced into the sermons as well. And we could go on for hours about that, but I just need you to go watch the documentary and to do some more research on.
Seriously, if you just go watch that documentary, there's like so many about Hillsong. Jesus.
There's one woman on there. She's a person of color, and
I love
talks
her.
about, and she like was working for like no money at one point. She was like going overtime hours, and like she was all in to like set up one of the Hillsong churches, and they just like shat all over her. So,
yeah, she
I forget her name.
She's a person of color, and she has a podcast. I have to find it. I'll be right back.
Beautiful lady.
Let me Google it. She's so beautiful. But yeah, that's very common with not just Hillsong, but like all mega churches is like way overworking all of their volunteers and expecting the sun and the moon from them. But with I'm not
paying
even,
fair wages,
not even fucking paying them.
Yeah,
it's free, for free.
It's not. So please look into that because it's so much.
I'm gonna find her and I'm gonna tag her down in the show notes for you guys.
Please tag her, please. I want to talk about the last little bit that is under investigation right now.
Oh,
right now. That's right. So the Australian charity watchdog group is looking at them.
Okay.
It's looking at them. So
I like this.
They're investigating allegations against Hillsong Church for fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion to fund trips, different lavish lifestyles, things of that nature. So as of March 2023, I'll just give you directly what it says. Federal Charities Regulator for Australia is investigating Hillsong over the allegations of money laundering, tax evasion. There were claims that the megachurch earned about $80 million in a year, more than it publicly declared. So 80 million more than what it declared.
80 million more? Fucking A.
There are financial documents that were tabled in Parliament that were given by a whistleblower from the church.
Love them.
And they claim to show Hillsong used funds from a JobKeeper wage subsidy program to help buy Melbourne's Festival Hall, which is a venue for one of their churches.
Oh my gosh.
This also alleges that Brian Houston used tithes from church members to pay for upgraded hotels during quarantine accommodations when returning from overseas during the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic. At this time, no one from Hillsong has been charged with any crimes. That is across the board. Nobody. That's it. That's what I got for you. That's what I got.
They need to be charged.
It's problematic. It's just a problematic system in church. And it's just not, this is the kind of shit that like Jesus would have flipped a fucking table about, you know? Like this is not.
He would have flipped, he'd have just atomic bombed the whole goddamn church.
Probably.
He'd be like, fuck all of you.
In my father's house? What is this?
Uh-huh.
What kind of fuckery in all the cosmos is this?
What? Bullshit.
Did we figure out the Boston to New York commute?
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
Is that by plane or car?
Car.
I'm pretty sure they flew, but yeah.
But like she had to have lived, she wasn't doing that flight every day.
Surely not.
She had to have lived with them. She abandoned her own children.
With nanny stuff, they normally live with them, so.
Yeah, she abandoned her own children.
Did she? Where were your children? I'm so confused.
She had to have. Was
this before she had kids, maybe?
No, I'm pretty sure I heard she had her own kids. And she was leaving her own kids to go and nanny for Carl and Laura. And another volunteer from their Boston campus was nannying her kids.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, she definitely had them like, yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Laura, just know you deserve better than all of them. All the friends quote that you made, and Carl, you deserve so much more. Please leave. For the love of everything, please leave.
If you have deconstructed your faith, then you understand the moment and the heartbreak when you realize that the love from people at your church and your congregation or Christians that you grew up with, you realize that their love for you and your friendship was conditional. And it was fucking heartbreaking. And a lot of us lost friends, and the relationships with our loved ones have never been the same and never will be. I can't fucking imagine having to walk through that while also walking through a massive public scandal and finding out my husband has cheated on me.
Every bit of trust in her probably crumbled, all the way around. Not just for Carl, but all the way around.
She's stronger than I could, because there's no way that I could rebuild trust in you to be comfortable and happy in a relationship moving forward. There's no way that I could. And I know that about myself. It would be devastating for me to have to end the relationship, especially when kids are involved.
But you do what's best for you. Mm-hmm. You do what's best for your kids. Because that's what matters the most. So,
yeah.
Hillsong is problematic if I haven't driven that home to you.
Yep.
Seriously, go watch the documentary. You don't have to believe that he's an asshole. You don't have to believe he's a good person, whatever. But it's good to just hear it from his mouth, because it does seem like he's taking accountability, at least 70 to 80% of the time. So, plus you get to see Laura and other people of color, people from the LGBTQI plus community that are on there. And they talk about the different struggles that they walked through with Hillsong. And their stories are just as important as Carl's. So if you go to Hillsong Church, maybe don't. If you go, definitely don't tithe. Just
don't. Jesus God, don't.
Do not.
Please.
You know what you can do? Here's something that you can do instead of tithing. You can donate to your local schools. You can help a neighbor out with groceries. You can pay off library fees for people in the community. There are so many positive things that you can use your money for to benefit the community that go straight to the community.
Straight into the community. Donate to your local homeless shelter or soup kitchen or Meals on Wheels. That is still a thing where they go take meals to the elderly. So like
donate to a children's hospital, St. Jude's, whatever. Like,
yeah,
so many better places.
So I'm going to have to go back and watch a little bit of the Hillsong documentary to get the name of, I'm drawing a blank.
Hold on.
And this is what makes me mad is like I'm Googling the documentary and I'm trying to go to the cast
on there.
I can't find her on that because it's all like the main people. And then I go to the images and it's all fucking Carl Lentz and his wife and then like the girl, the model girl he cheated on his wife with. So it's like, okay, why are there not more pictures of the actual victims that were in the series? And so it's like, it makes me so mad. It's so centered around him when it's like...
Is it Tanya Levin? Maybe I'm wrong.
Carl Lentz is like, yeah, that was a fucking scandal and he's a big problem, but like, he's the cherry on top of the massive shit sundae, okay? Like, there's so many more victims and their stories are, in my opinion, more valid and need to be heard more than Carl Lentz's. Not saying Carl's couldn't tell his side, but it's frustrating to me. And a lot of these people are people of color who have had their voices silenced over and over and over again.
Is the podcast called Leaving Hillsong?
No. She has like her own.
Definitely a podcast called Leaving Hillsong.
I believe it. She might be on that one. Hold on. Yes. Okay, we figured it out. So thank you. Lola was able to find it. Janice Lagata. Sorry if that is not how you pronounce your last name, but she is amazing. And she was in that documentary. Absolutely love her. She does have a podcast called God Has Not Given. Go out and listen to her. I think the first time I listened to her, she did an interview on Dirty Rotten Church Kids podcast. And so that was pretty cool. I don't know if they still are around. They kind of had like a falling out scandal thing. So I don't know if they're there anymore, that podcast. But yeah, that was a whole thing. But yeah, she's amazing. She's a powerhouse. So go give her a listen. We'll link all of her stuff in the show notes. We'll link the documentary so you guys can give it a listen or give it a watch. It's good, even though I disagree with it at times and wish they would have done better. But
every documentary's got its thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, we can critique.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So also, funny little story about Hillsong, which like I'm dying to know the story. Everyone knows Elise Myers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know this?
Yeah.
She accidentally signed up for a Hillsong. What was it? Their like college classes?
I think so.
She thought it was like a music school. She didn't realize that it was like a Bible school.
She's very musically inclined.
And she was too embarrassed to be like, oh, fuck, this is the wrong thing. She was at Hillsong, I don't know what it's called, the Hillsong University or whatever it is.
Hillsong College, whatever.
There for like, I think a year or so. People in the comments, like the first time she barely talked about it. People in the comments were like, oh my God, asking her. But she was like, it's still too fresh. Like, I don't really want to talk about it, which is completely valid for her. But I just thought that was hilarious. So now anytime I hear Hillsong, I just think of Elise accidentally going to their university.
Whoopsie. Wrong class.
Right.
Good. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready for palate cleansers?
I am ready for palate cleansers. What's your palate cleanser for today?
Eddie Munson. Eddie Munson. Eddie Munson. I just want everyone to think about him and his curly hair and the way that he grabs his shirt to show his sweet tatties.
Tatties.
God. And the way he says, sorry, I'm late, baby, to his guitar.
Yes.
I swoon.
Lola texted me pictures of Eddie Munson. For those that don't know, he's one of the main characters on the most recent, I think it's like, season 4 of Stranger Things?
Yeah, season 4 of Stranger Things.
So she texted me some pictures and I was like, oh my gosh. And then we were texting, or I'll just like read the text really quick.
Yes, read it.
They were really funny. So she sends me these
Look
pictures.
at my background. It's all just like
it's just all Eddie.
It's all Eddie all the time.
So I send that GIF, whatever you call it, of the little girl that I think it's like Toddlers and Tiaras or something. I don't know what.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But she's like, she like smiles all kind of
like
creepily.
The double chin.
Yeah.
Her eyes are real
like,
big.
And
she's so cute.
So I sent her that, and then I sent one of a guy like ripping his shirt off. And then she told me I make that face of the little girl, which is true. I do. But then we'll post a picture of it now. Yeah, right. I was telling Tyler the story about her saying, like, you literally make this face. And because I do. And then Tyler, my husband, goes, what's so special about him? He looks average. And I was like, how dare you?
She said, I clutched my pearls and asked him to repent.
Pearls and made him repent. And then Lola texted me back in all capital letters and said, I will sacrifice Tyler to the new and old gods if he disrespects Munson again.
Listen, I am so... I need a podcast just to talk about Eddie because I could go on for hours about why his story was so unjust and his arc was not finished. Andrew keeps telling me, he's like, it was finished. He died. And I'm like, he didn't fucking die.
And
what about Wayne? Anyway.
Tyler's like, my husband, for anyone who didn't know that.
We know at this point who they are.
I would think so. He's like, your mom's, he's talking to one of my kids, he's like, your mom's swooning over an actor. And I was like, it's not even the actor.
It's not the actor.
It's the character.
I don't care about, like, I don't want to say I don't care. Joseph Quinn is he's a great actor. But he's not, it's not the same.
Not anyway. I was like, we're fawning over an imaginary character from a story. Like, he doesn't exist and we wish he did.
You know that he would eat pussy like a starved man. You know he would.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
He would know his way around very well.
I'm fine. I blush when I think about Eddie Munson. I think he's a real person. In my brain, I've made him real. I am unwell.
I am unwell, and that's okay. We are allowed, as long as we know we're being delusional.
Yeah,
it's allowed.
I think we're fine. I know I'm crazy. That's what makes me not crazy. Yeah.
I took my pills tonight, so we're good.
Yeah. So just think about Eddie Munson and his Hellfire shirt and the way that his rings look on his fingers. Anyway, I'm fine.
Oh, man. Okay.
What's yours?
I'm gonna have you go back to Hillsong because
what?
No, it's a palate cleanser because it's funny. The girl that he cheated on his wife with.
Yeah, which one?
The model girl. Yeah, the model girl. So she was on like an episode of like it was some kind of reality show of like meeting couples on a beach or like an island or whatever.
Yeah.
And like she meets this guy, they're sitting on a boat, and like the first thing she says is like, yeah, you know Carl Lentz? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, I'm the girl that had an affair with him.
Oh my God. Why would you lead with that? But okay.
I was like, if you weren't clout chasing from the very beginning with this whole
we know
affair,
you are now.
Girl.
Yeah. Shameless. She is shameless. Yeah. Okay,
shame on all of them. But yeah, I thought that was hilarious. So I thought I'd add that in for our little palate cleanser.
No, I love that so much.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Hillsong.
Yay.
They're a shit show. Go watch the documentary. You'll enjoy it. You'll learn some more. Don't go to Hillsong. Don't give them your money.
Maybe
Go
not.
feed the poor.
Donate to a dog shelter.
Buy your neighbor kid a new pair of shoes. You know, all those good things.
Think about Eddie Munson playing guitar in Corroded Coffin.
Yes.
Anyway.
And we're going to leave you right there on that note because there's nothing better.
Agree.
We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Hey, heathens, if you're enjoying the show so far, please go like, subscribe, do all the things, you know, give us those nice, wonderful 5-star reviews. Help us out in this world that is podcasting. This Choircast podcast is produced by Lacey Bean and Lola Robbins and audio engineered by Eric Howell. Thanks for listening. Also, remember, if you need any sort of resources for domestic violence, human trafficking, or mental health resources, they are linked below in the show notes, as always.